Economy. It's time now to talk about transportation, railways, aviation, and even cab aggregators. They all fall under the 5% tax slab, but it's not as easy or as simple as that. Even within that, for instance, there's a different rate for economy class travel in aviation and business class travel in aviation. But let's talk about cab aggregators now. To join us on the show to talk about the impact is ShwetaRKohli, Head of Public Policy for Uber India and South Asia. Shweta, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. So cab aggregators under the 5% tax bracket. What does this mean now for an Uber user?
Well, clearly good news because, Shireen, any fears around the GST tax rates being inflationary or adding to the burden for riders in terms of rates has now been put to rest. So at 5%, what essentially means that it's as close to as the current 6% service tax rate that ride-sharing apps like Uber have been collecting from driver partners and in turn passing it on to the government. Very quickly, if I could say that for aggregators like us, there is no room to really claim any input credit simply because we don't own any of these cabs, and there is really no window for us to go ahead and claim that abatement. So in that sense, what we are really doing is we are collecting tax on behalf of driver partners, passing it on. And any further hit could have actually been inflationary and bad news for riders. So we really welcome the 5% tax bracket there.
So it's pretty much status quo then as far as the cab aggregator business is concerned, Shweta, because you were at 6%. In fact, there's a little bit of a relief.
Absolutely, a little bit of a relief there, and definitely it's the riders who are going to benefit from that, because at the end of the day, if we are currently at a 6% service tax rate, and now this would be brought down to a 5% GST rate, which kicks in on the 1st of July, it is riders that will stand to benefit, because we are simply collecting it and passing it on to the riders, collecting it on behalf of the drivers, because it's actually the liability of the driver partners, which we in turn collect to ensure that compliance is easier, both on part of the driver partner and for the government, and pass it on. So it is really welcome news because it will, in fact, be anti-inflationary, very pro-consumer, pro-rider and pro-driver.
Okay, Shweta, so my final question to you, does life change at all for an Uber user come the 1st of July in terms of tariffs?
Yes, absolutely. So when you see the breakdown of the tariff, Shireen, the current tariff is a very transparent upfront pricing that an Uber rider gets when he takes a ride, and it's very clear what is the service tax that is being charged to the Uber rider over and above, which is charged to the effect of the overall fare that he's paying, and he would be able to see the difference of that coming down from the 6% service tax currently to a 5% GST starting the 1st of July. So it's a very direct impact that we would see. And in fact, as we said, that it is going to be anti-inflationary. It should bring down the overall tax structure, and it will overall bring out the tax impact that a rider is currently paying out. So definitely good news. Most importantly, it's brought about the much-needed clarity, Shireen, because there was a lot of ambiguity around what the rates are going to be, what categorization would aggregators fall under, and for cab aggregators now coming under the 5% bracket with the overall transportation sector is definitely welcome news, as I said, especially because in this case particularly, we are not able to claim any input credit whatsoever, given that none of these are owned by us. Back to Shireen.
All right, so it's good news there for companies like Uber India. ShwetaRKohli, appreciate you joining us. And good news, as she was pointing out, for consumers as well. Perhaps come the 1st of July, you will see a reduction on tariff as well. But from